I like to begin a movement practice with a body scan and give my nervous system a chance to check in and my mind to connect with my body and really create a map of how I'm feeling. And then I finish my practice with another body scan and just notice if there's been any shifts. Usually something's shifted, and I just find it really useful to acknowledge that and pay attention to that. Some of the work I do is quite subtle, and if we don't pay attention and take the time for this, then you can really miss out on the sort of the neurological acceptance or understanding of what's just happened. So we're going to begin today with a little bit of a check-in. So I'm just sitting here and I'm just going to see how my pelvis is feeling today. I'm just going to let myself roll forward and back. Notice any restrictions in the hips or the belly, anything in the pelvis, the low back. Today the focus is really on this lower abdomen and hip area, so we're just going to really feel that out. You might like to come forward with the arms, you might like to take a little lean to each side, and then I recommend you hop up and have a quick walk around your space and just notice how your legs, feet, hips feel, all the way up through into the pelvis, low back and the belly. And then we'll come back to this at the end and see if there's any shifting. Our fight and flight systems have evolved to protect us, and they're good and effective at getting us ready to run, fight, and in an extreme danger situation to freeze and play dead. However, these strategies don't always serve us in our daily lives. And today I'd like to talk about the effect of long-term stress on the pelvic floor. So when we are ready and activated for fight-flight, we tend to contract, or you can't even help it. It just instinctively, your body contracts, lifts pelvic floor, getting ready to go. So if this continues at a sustained level, and we might have stress in our work, well, just in our daily lives, driving, interacting with people, loud noises, situations, we can live in a state where we're a little bit on and ready to fight or run when it's not necessary and not serving us. The long-term effect of that on your pelvic floor can actually be that you become weaker in your pelvic floor, because that shortening and contracting in the tissue is actually becoming less functional. For health and well-being, the pelvic floor needs to be able to relax as well as contract. We need the elasticity and the tensegrity in that pelvic bowl. So we're just going to find our sit bones today. I'm sitting up on a soft yoga block here and a little bolster. You could sit up on a chair or on a couch, or even on the floor, just cross-legged, or you could have a blanket or a towel just propped up under you, just so you're as comfortable as possible. And if you just rock side to side, you'll feel your sit bones, those ischial tuberosities at the base of the pelvis, like little rocking chairs. Actually kind of go, well, this way. And if we rock, well, they can go that way too. If we're rocking side to side and forward and back, you'll get a sense of where those bones are. We want to just come to rest in the middle. Once I'm in that position, my pelvis is nice and neutral, and I'm able to feel my spine growing up out of the pelvis, out through the crown of the head, elongating my spine, giving my diaphragm and my pelvic floor the optimal arrangement ready to work. You can just take some nice big breaths there. Filling up on the inhale and then exhaling to empty. As you fill up, I want you to imagine on the inhale that your organs through the abdominal cavity are dropping, And those sitting bones are widening and spreading. You could even visualize the bottom of your pelvis expanding as you inhale and contracting or sort of shrinking as you exhale. Think of allowing a little softness into your belly. And see if you can feel that give. See if you can feel the weight of everything through the abdominals just dropping down. Those lower pelvic organs just dropping into that pelvic bowl. The belly expanding and then exhaling. You're just going to take 3 or 4 more breaths there and just noticing anywhere in the body that you're holding tension, and see if you can wiggle and adjust and move and just get comfortable. I'm going to just come out to a wide sitting position here and just take your last 3 breaths. Allowing each breath to give you a little more release, letting go of any tension, allowing for more expansion and length into that pelvic floor. And just noticing, taking time just to sit quietly and notice the stillness that you're starting to create within. But I also get a sense of stillness around me and space around me. You might become more aware of the noises in the room. It's very common to hold tension in our abdominal area. I'm going to give you a nice simple technique to do a little bit of release through the belly. This is probably best done lying on your back, knees bent. You could have a pillow or a few pillows under your knees, or rest your calves or shins up onto a couch or a chair. I'm going to do it seated today just so you can see what I'm doing better. So if you don't have a soft ball, you could do this with a nice big chunky pair of socks rolled into a ball, or you could also just do it with your hands. So you're just going to start, because I'm seated, the massage won't be as effective as if you're lying on your back. So when you're lying on your back, you'll have obviously a little bit more assistance from gravity. I'm just going to take, should I do it first without the ball, just so I'm with any of you that don't have a ball at home? We're going to do a circle in a clockwise direction, as though there's a clock face on my belly. So I always have to look at a clock to remember that. So I'm moving in this direction, and that supports the way that our digestive system travels food through the gut. So we're just going to start with the bony landmarks. So you have the hip bones. You can probably put your hands on and find those bones. So we're inside there. We have the rib cage here. So we don't want to be rolling or pressing onto the bones, but into the soft fleshy parts just inside. And then the pubic bone at the bottom. And that gives you that circular shape that we're going to work in. So I'm going to start at the top and just give a little bit of pressure, one hand on top of the other. Begin with an inhale up into the hands, and exhale, just feel the air coming out. And then you just move a little across. So we're very slowly traveling around in a circle and breathing. If you reach a place where that inhale feels like it's connecting with some tissue that's a little bit stuck or congested, you'll just pause and breathe in that zone. So I'm just moving little by little, taking a nice breath at each place. I probably recommend we do a nice slow one like this, and then you might like to take it into a little more of a continuous movement. But just slowing it down to give you time to really Tune in and listen. Notice any tightness. You don't want to cause pain, so if there's a tight area, give it some gentle pressure. Use the breath to help release. But careful you're not creating pain. So I've started to move a little quicker and a little more continuously in my circle. My breath's now just a little more fluid. Breathing in to roll. Breathing out to roll. See if you can allow every inhale to drop the organs of that pelvic bowl and abdominal cavity. Just let them rest down into the base of the pelvis. And you can continue. I'm just going to continue with my ball here, just for those of you that have a ball. So same thing, but we're using the pressure of the ball, one hand on top of the other, and just rolling. Move the hands as you need. Sometimes it feels like you need to adjust to get that weight down. And with the ball on when you're lying on your back, you may feel like you can get a little more flow than I'm getting here. But it often is nice to really slow down and give attention to each part there. Let the belly breathe up into the ball or the hands. And exhaling just to melt and soften. Inviting softness into the belly. Inviting softness around those organs. And inviting softness into the breath. I'd like to also just teach you a navel radiation, particularly if that feels really useful for you. If you don't feel you're holding tension in your belly, great. You might find some days more than others you'll feel something. Those of you that do feel either possibly tightness or restrictions, or you may even feel some sort of dissociation or like I don't really want to go there. That probably means it'd be really great for you to spend a little bit of time very gently, very slowly around this area. So for a navel radiation, you find your navel and we're just tracing the rim of the navel. So this would be best done underneath clothing into skin. I'm just going to do it on my outside today so you can see. I'm just using 2 fingers here. You could use 1 finger, whatever feels sort of best for you. And you're just trying to slow down. You might feel like that tiny little area makes you want to go quickly, but see if you can move nice and slowly around, tracing the rim of that belly button, letting go of any judgment. Once you've gone around at least 1 or 2 full circles, you could then keep it slow, but just start to increase the diameter of the circles. So we start to get a little larger with the circles. Reminding yourself to breathe down into the pelvis and belly. Let go of any holding in those muscles. And we just gradually increase the size of the circles until you are coming back to that big circle that we had before, still avoiding the bony landmarks, but just tracing around in the soft flesh. And then at the end of that, if that's feeling really useful to you, you can just massage around, feel around nice and gently, and sort of give a little bit of love to your belly anywhere that needs it. And just starting to really connect with that place in ourselves, because more and more the research is showing that we have so many receptors, neuroreceptors, and information, memory, and sense of who we are in this part of ourselves. And I think especially as women, we often disconnect, and we often feel that we have to look a certain way or hold our belly in flat, tight, hard, rather than embracing the natural softness and spaciousness and womanliness of our bellies. Another way we can relax the pelvic floor and calm the nervous system and the body in an attempt to create a better functioning, happier mind and body, working to restore, replenish, renew, recharge, regenerate, is with sound. So I'm going to just give you 2 sounds today that will help activate that vagus nerve to give you a sense of calm and safety. So we're going to start with an sound. So it's like M. You want to feel the vibrations coming into that nasal cavity. You may feel it through the throat and the chest a little as well, but predominantly it'll be somewhere through the head. So we're just going to start with an inhalation. You just work at your own speed. We'll just take 2 more. Or if you're breathing slower than me, then you might do fewer. If you're breathing quicker, you might do more. So just a couple of these. Just checking in, noticing how your mind's feeling. That sound does a nice job of drowning out noise through our ears as well, which allows us to drop in and focus a little more. We're going to do one more sound. This time it's an ah, or I quite like a H-A, ha, as though you're fogging in a mirror. So we might actually do that in 2 different ways. One with the and one with an ah sound. So we'll just do one of each of those, but practicing on your own, you might like to do 3 or more. So inhale through the nose. Inhale. And just checking in. Seeing how your breath feels, seeing how your mind feels, seeing how your body feels, and just noticing if there's any calming, relaxing, grounded, more dropped in sensations, maybe even uplifted. I hope you've had a little bit of fun and learnt something just trying those simple breath techniques, sound, and the massage with the hands or the ball. And I just would like to finish today just with another body scan. So we're just going to sit back down and check in with your pelvis. You might like to try some movements, reaching forward with those hands, maybe a little side bend each side, maybe just kind of a scan mentally through the body. And I'm just going to tell you the sensations that I've noticed. I felt a lot more elastic in my side bending and my forward bending. And I feel a lot sort of like something's given way under my pelvis, like I'm just sitting deeper into the floor and really sort of softer around my sitting bones. And then I'd just like you to conclude with a little walk around the room, jump up and just check in with those feet, knees, ankles, hips, and see how you feel. Sometimes sitting can be hard on our hips, so make sure you are comfortable. Over time, that will ease and give. I can feel in my hips a little bit of tightness just from my sitting position, and I might be more comfortable in a chair or lying down, but I quite like the challenge over time. I know that that's going to keep getting better, and I like to keep that mobility in my hips. But if it's not feeling good, listen to your body and find somewhere that's more comfortable for you to be, because this really is all about relaxing, letting go, and tuning into that sense of pelvic floor releasing.